Hello and welcome. You're watching Money 9. I'm Sakshi Batra, and the markets are actually seeing a deep fall right now. If you see the markets, especially the benchmarks, the Sensex and the Nifty, they're seeing a cut of over 1% right now. And when we see the kind of market volatile moves that we've been witnessing for the last one or two trading sessions, there is a lingering fear in the minds of investors as to whether the markets can actually show you a bigger correction right now after having seen a wonderful, stupendous rally on the upside, a one-way rally over the last 17, 18 odd months. So how should you be really dealing with the markets and also the upcoming big flurry of the IPOs that are coming up? Joining in to help us make sense of all of this that's happening in the markets, I have with me a very special guest joining me. I have with me Mr. Vaibhav Agarwal, founder and CIO of Tezi Mandi, on this edition of Kaise Bachaye, Kaise Badhaye.
Thank you, Sakshi. So I think the markets. Yeah, I mean they've clearly been volatile. But if you take a longer term trajectory, they've pretty much been a one-way rally from March 2020. So if we see the Nifty, has doubled almost since the bottom, and the small cap index has about tripled from the bottom. So investors have made a lot of money, but that doesn't mean that the rally is over. What it means is that the first leg of the bull market, which is like all the easy money on the table, where all the beaten down stocks, and that's maybe from here going forward, you'll have to do more research. You'll have to have more skill in the game if you want to sort of make money. So my suggestion would be that you stick to some of the large cap names which are out there in the banking space, and in the IT space. And more or less, people sort of should be okay. In terms of the market volatility falling off, I think the issue is that we tend to look at things from a very near-term perspective. But if you rewind to 5 years back, and you take almost any like 5, 7, 10% drop, usually there has been a corresponding pullback and a much stronger pullback.
Yeah.
And I think personally, India's on. It's on an economic upcycle. The capex cycle is coming back after almost 1 decade. So trajectory looks sort of very positive going forward. So if you take a view of the next 3 to 5 years, the current situation will look like a blip in that time period. So my suggestion would be that rather than like being so sort of myopic and just looking at such short-term trends, you should sort of look at the longer-term trend, because that's where that's where the big money is made in the market.
Right, absolutely. Also wanted to understand, in the last 17, 18 odd months, we have seen this new age millennials really coming into the fray of retail investors, the kind of money they have poured in, the kind of money they have made in the last 1.5 years as well. For them, what would you be really suggesting? Because this is that sector, or this is that segment of the retail investors which has not seen a correction at all. How should they be prepared for, if at all there is a blip or a deeper correction going forward from here? How do they protect their capital, whatever they have made, the profits they have made? Is it wise for them to take out some of the profits to be able to enjoy the journey going forward?
I think it's very difficult to give a one size fits all answer, because it really depends on what stocks they've bought, what stocks they're currently sitting on, what are the prospects of those companies. So I think a one size fits all may not sort of be the right answer. But what I think is that if you do have like a good chunk of your savings or your capital, and you want to sort of create wealth in the market, then I would suggest that they should put it in professionally managed products. So whether that means mutual funds, or whether it means advisory portfolios like Tezi Mandi, or maybe some of the other small cases that are out there. These are sort of products that would sort of help you create wealth in a systematic way over a period of time. So I would sort of suggest that rather than betting on individual stocks, because otherwise, like, you have to monitor them sort of very actively. And if you're in some other field, maybe like doing something else the whole day, and you only look at your portfolio as a weekend investor, then I mean it does become tough to sort of because there is a lot of stuff happening in the market, as you would understand.
Absolutely. Would you have any particular sectors that you are keeping on your radar going forward from here? Of course, in this last bull run of 1.5 years, we have seen a constant sector rotation really take place. Especially in the last 6 months or a year, money shifting from one sector to the other constantly. Any particular sector that you believe for the long term is something that investors must look at including in their portfolios?
So I think private sector banks, especially the large ones, you should definitely consider having that, because that is a play on the entire sort of economic upcycle. So credit growth right now it's at about 6%, but the decadal high is about 20%.
Yeah.
So whenever this credit growth sort of comes back, and it is coming back, the larger banks will be in a pole position to sort of take advantage of that. So that's definitely, and that's also play on the economy, the recovery, the capex cycle. So I think it's sort of a one size sort of, it's one sector that sort of captures everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Also wanted to take your view on the IPO space. Now, it's been absolutely crazy as far as IPOs are concerned. We've already raised about 80,000 crores this year. IPOs have done very well. We have seen very sharp listing gains. The kind of oversubscriptions have been crazy too. Now, there've also been a large number of funds this year. Have they really worked for the retail investor is what I wanted to understand. And have investors really made money in majority of these IPOs? And is this a space which is meant for the first time investor or new retail investors?
Yeah, so I think usually, even historically, IPOs have traditionally been, the magnet for retail investors. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz, and especially because some of the new age sort of tech companies are coming in. So this is not an animal that anyone has sort of dealt with, right, in the past. So suddenly everyone thinks there's a lot of sort of jazz around them. But at the end of the day, they're all businesses, right? And businesses at the end of the day get valued on the money that they make. So most of these IPOs are coming in with the promise that they will make money in FY28 or FY29 or FY30. And you're already discounting them at sort of, you're giving them exorbitant valuations from an FY28 or FY29 perspective. So if you're doing that, I mean, that leaves very little money on the table for current investors, right? Because if you're discounting all the valuation today itself of something that's going to happen 7-8 years later, the funny thing is that a lot of the predictions are like the guys who are sort of these new age tech companies, there'll be no disruption in the next 7-8 years. So limited point is, I think investors should be extremely careful. I think there are a lot of good old economy stocks that you can actually stick to, which will actually sort of maybe make more wealth in a compounded basis over the next 7-8 years. Because a Zomato at 110,000 crores is a company that's burning 2,000 crores. So even if you give it a 30x valuation, it has to make at least 3,000-4,000 crores of net profit, right? And they refuse to do a quarterly call, so my limited point is, like, as a retail investor, I think you should sort of stay away.
Would you be a subscriber in the Nykaa IPO that has just hit the street with a price band of 1,025, 1,125 of sorts, the valuation of 53,000 crores in terms of market cap? Now, this venture is profitable. We've seen a profit of about 60 crore rupees. Do you think at such valuations, Nykaa IPO would still find takers irrespective of how great or monopolistic the business may be, and the founders and the management are solid? How should one really analyze this new age company, leaving aside Zomato and what it has done to?
No, so again, my point with Zomato was just to highlight an example. But even in case of Nykaa, like you are seeing a 60 crores of net profit. This is a profit that they've shown very close to the IPO, right? How will things pan out after 7-8 years? We don't necessarily know. They're in a great segment. Again, they can make a lot of money in the segment that they're in. It's a very popular, very hot sector. But again, at 53,000 crores, I think even the most bullish people will tell you that there's not much money left on the table, right?
Okay.
So maybe the sentiment and the momentum might take the stock to 1 lakh crores. I don't know, but I sort of don't, engage in that sort of speculative activity.
And what about Paytm and Policy Bazaar that we are going to be seeing next? Again, very big names, big ticket IPOs there. Of course, Paytm touted to be the biggest IPO ever so far in India, over 18,000 crore rupees. How should one really analyze these two IPOs which will be coming up?
I think I should ask you that question now. I think I think I've probably maybe like given examples of two. I don't want to go into like very like specific IPOs.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the jury's out in terms of how one should look at it. Personally, if I see like the promoter is selling his shares, the anchor SoftBank is selling their shares. So my only hope is that while there's a lot of excitement right now, a few years later, it should not end up badly for the retail investors, because they've bought it at really exorbitant prices, and so this should not create a what do you say, like the future tech companies that might be profitable and that come to IPO should not suffer because of the current sort of excitement. Right? So that's the only thing I would sort of want to be careful of.
Absolutely, of course, $7.4 billion, the kind of valuation just by selling lipstick is something that all of us need to understand. We should not underestimate the kind of usability that Indian makeup, Indians may have for makeup, especially women may have for makeup. But for sure, I clung on to it because I got to know that this is one platform where you can buy global brands which are authentic, because a lot of fakes go around, and we still don't have a checklist onto that too. But going forward from here, we've discussed the secondary market, we've discussed the primary market. In the end, I wanted to understand from you, from a very new, first-time retail investor's perspective, how does one really, create a portfolio that will ultimately be a wealth-generating portfolio in the long run? Say, for example, if you're here to, purely invest, make money from the markets, which has made, many people rich. What's the best way to go forward?
There is maybe no one right way, but one of the things that people should look at is that what is the return on capital employed of the companies, what is the kind of growth, are they the dominant players in their space, and historically, like compared to historical levels, what is their valuation level, yeah, I mean, I think if you look at those sort of companies and you sort of assess what the downside is, as well as the upside, then I think maybe you can create a portfolio that looks good for you.
Understood that. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Mr. Agarwal, for sharing these wonderful insights with all our viewers. I'm hoping that we will catch up again to talk more about the new and upcoming IPOs and the other stock market movements that we've been witnessing, so that our viewers can get a better clarity of how to really approach and make the best for themselves as a decision for their investments in equities. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you. All right, and with that, we wrap up this edition of Kaise Bachaye, Kaise Badhaye, and we'll keep getting you such interesting conversations so that you can take the best decisions about your money and your investments in equities. And with that, I wrap up this edition, but do stay tuned with us on Money9, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and stick with us via social media handles, and also visit our website, money9.com. Many thanks for tuning in now.